Support WrestleTalk!
Support each other. You know what it's like. You're one of the biggest free agent wrestlers in the world, arguably the biggest in terms of a ratings drawing in-ring return, and everyone's trying to get you to make your big wrestling comeback in their promotion. But they just don't seem serious enough. All they've got is a year's worth of creative, a defined money offer, and a contract defining the amount of dates you'd work. Come on, young bucks, I need something a bit more concrete than nearly all the terms being laid out in front of me. So feel some sympathy for CM Punk, who for a few months last year seemed like he was going to make his wrestling return with AEW. He had already made a cameo appearance under a mask for an indie promotion in April and was then announced as the Q&A headliner for All Out's partner convention Starrcast in August. But in a good old-fashioned pro wrestling swerve, he kind of returned to WWE instead by becoming an occasional correspondent for their studio show on Fox, WWE Backstage, where he changed the culture. Unfortunately, that culture got cancelled last month. Gasp! Maybe that was his plan all along. Take them down from the inside, Punk! Since then, people have begun to talk about Punk's negotiations with AEW again, with Conan revealing Punk had asked for an astronomical amount of money to sign with the promotion, as he was also in talks with AEW at the same time. It somewhat contradicts what Punk has always maintained in interviews, that AEW never made him a serious offer, telling ESPN it was just a general offer sent over text message. Alex McCarthy of TalkSport has now asked Cody about Conan's astronomical amount of money claim, and the AEW co-executive vice president has revealed it's true. As far as the CM Punk negotiations go, everyone heard the famous "he got a text from us." Yeah, of course there were negotiations, and he did ask for a great amount of money, and Punk is worth a great deal of money, but there are some very smart and fiscally conservative people who surround us and flank us, because this isn't my money at all. But the Khan family is worth $6.8 billion. Tony Khan, buy me a CM Punk. I want one. Cody explained that AEW is very conscious of not becoming another WCW failure story, where they spent so much money on talent it didn't actually make business sense. AEW has, very incredibly, managed to turn a profit in its first year, which is one of the most objective markers of a promotion's success you can get. Punk isn't the only high-profile wrestler AEW reportedly passed on because they thought the price tag was too high either. Both Edge and Randy Orton were in talks with the promotion last year, but WWE ultimately offered them bigger contracts. Tony Khan is pretty much Jonah Hill in Moneyball. Cody does go on to say that he thinks he and Tony have a good relationship with Punk, but he suspects this might not just be about the money, and that the passion might not be there, which is what AEW is really looking for. But while Cody does concede the initial Punk negotiations never got too serious, that doesn't mean they won't one day. CM Punk to AEW confirmed! Thanks for your support on Patreon, the Snapdragon King Ryo Odonte, and the joy of painting Bobby Ross. WWE Hall of Famer and now AEW affiliated wrestler DDP has confirmed he has tested positive for COVID-19. Page announced the news on his DDP Yoga YouTube channel, where he reveals that despite testing negative twice, he developed symptoms of the disease, while his girlfriend, confusingly also called Paige, tested positive. It's just another example of how difficult it is to detect the disease, as testing negative doesn't necessarily mean you don't have it. Describing his symptoms, DDP said,
"It came down and knocked us on our ass. And for me, it was, my voice got more and more raspier than this. I started feeling super weak. Trying to sleep was next to impossible. I felt like Big Show had a hold of my back. I mean, it was so painful. And this went on for days."
DDP thankfully seems to be doing a lot better now, but you can still wish him well on his Twitter @RealDDP. He signed off his video with some very sage advice.
Please, try to just care about other people. If you don't wear a mask for you, wear it for other people. Be cautious, do the social distancing, and just be good to each other, because we only got ourselves, so be good to each other.
Speaking of reaching out to people on Twitter, Quizzlemania is being live streamed today at 1 PM PST, 4 PM EST and 9 PM BST with me, defending champion Luke Owen, and two huge guests in Mega Ran and Wale. So I thought I'd send them all a tweet to get the banter started early. I can't wait for Quizzlemania today with actual celebrities, no offense Sean Ross Sapp, haha lol, Wale and Mega Ran. I will beat you with my rapping skills, present emoji. But you, Luke Owen, I will take you down. Mantor Power. Set a reminder here with the little YouTube link thing with a picture of Mantor right there, that little piece of shit. I'm over it though. I'm over the whole Mantor thing. I'm owning it. I'm gonna own it now too. I'm gonna wear it as a badge of honor that I use to defeat my Quizzlemania enemies to finally not come last, because it's humiliating. Do you understand how humiliating it just all is? To run a wrestling YouTube channel and lose week after week after week at a wrestling game show? It's their fault. That's who it is. I know what I'll do. I'll beat them. Then I'll wear their heads like a Mantor wears a ball costume. I'll put their head on my head. I'll show them. That'll show. So that's Quizzlemania later today on Parts Fun Known. It's going to be a lot of fun, so set yourself a reminder to watch it when it goes live. Back to wrestling news. KO revealed this week that it was actually him who confronted Vince McMahon backstage about the company taking the pandemic more seriously and asking that crowd members in the Performance Center wear masks. And in an interview with CBS Sports, he's revealed that's not the only thing he's requested from management. Owens revealed he's had discussions with McMahon about heading back to NXT because he wants to make the brand just as big as Raw and SmackDown, and also because he felt he never got a proper long run there. But some decisions were made that I had to stay put on Raw and SmackDown. But even though KO said he still chats with Triple H about being drafted to NXT, the main roster isn't done with him yet. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE is still hedging their bets over whether Rey Mysterio will re-sign with the company. He's reportedly currently wrestling without a contract, which expired earlier this year. So Raw is setting up Owens versus Seth Rollins as a post-horror show feud if Mysterio chooses to leave. But even if Rey does stay, there's still a possibility we'll get KO versus Seth, as Raw wants to start using Owens higher up the card since his return. But will it be enough to turn around WWE's ratings free fall? After last Monday drew the second lowest viewership average in the show's history, this week went one better and recorded the lowest audience Raw has ever seen, with just 1.56 million viewers. I can't wait to see that in a Did You Know graphic on TV, and they won't be able to look towards the Omni Flair for answers. Charlotte has revealed on Twitter that she was written off TV last month so she can undergo surgery to fix a leaking breast implant. But that's not the only reason she has to take more time off than expected. Recovering from the surgery alone will likely rule her out of a SummerSlam return, with Dave Meltzer reporting her return timetable is up in the air. And now Pro Wrestling Sheet has revealed she also has an upcoming TV project that is for a scripted show with a big network, which could mean she won't return until Survivor Series or even the Royal Rumble. In a rather somber way to conclude this episode, it's important to talk about New Japan star Will Ospreay and his recent post on Instagram. A few weeks ago, I came very close to something I know I'd regret. I'm still dragging my feet, but I'm getting better. I'm still smiling barely, but a smile nonetheless. Suicide isn't an option even when you feel like you've dropped the world. Learning and pushing forward to be better is an option. Thank you to the people that have ever made me smile or laugh and been there to pick me up. Because of you, my heart still beats. I love you all. If you're struggling with your mental health, there are always people to speak to. There's a link in the video description below to our Support Each Other webpage with a detailed list of mental health charities, numbers to call, and resources that may help during this time, wherever you are in the world. And if you ever want to talk to one of us, you can get in touch with an email to support@WrestleTalk.com. But sometimes, as the opening credits say, you just need to forget about the world. So tune into Quizzlemania live today with me, Luke, and rappers Mega Ran and Wale. Press the video on the right to set a reminder now. And Kevin Owens has clashed backstage with Vince McMahon. Click the video below that to learn more. You can follow me on Twitter @OllieDavis and us at WrestleTalk_TV. That was wrestling.